It's a lot like farming, as far as you work with your family, you work hard. Ours is different in the fact that we travel.
A fourth-generation business filled with fun and games. It started so small after World War II.
They started out with a Ferris wheel, a chairplane, and a kiddie train.
Adding millions more to keep this family tradition going and growing. The Evans family takes us to the heart of their story. The sights and sounds of summer. For generations of fair and festival goers, they have shared common experiences here, from the small kid-friendly rides to the thrill-seeking adventures, to the fun and games of the Midway, and of course the food. Constant introduction of new ways to eat, mixed with the traditions like cutting candy, corn dogs. Families around the country mark their calendars and wait for these moments year after year. But for one family, it's 4 generations of bringing memories of fun through their hard work in this very unique life. Tommy Evans runs the business with his wife and daughter Erin. He has spent most of the warm months on the road for years, having never mowed his lawn all these years. He has more important things to do.
I've grown up with this all my life, and you know, every fair is different and a celebration.
Business that technically began the same year he was born.
My dad and his 2 brothers and their parents started in 1947. So my grandfather, he'd go out, he had a caramel corn stand, he sold caramel corn. He'd go out and play a fair, but he had another job at the same time, but that's how I got into this kind of business. And then he did that before World War II, and then they all went to California and worked in a defense plant, and then they all got drafted. The 3 brothers got drafted, and they all, after the war was over, that's when they started this in 1947. They started out with a Ferris wheel, a chairplane, and a kiddie train.
Starting small and now soaring so high with the price tags to match.
I remember in 1955, my dad and his brother bought a tiller whirl for $11,000. Now a new tiller whirl's $450,000 to $500,000. We added a new ride this year called the Freak Out. It was $800,000. And their probably total investment, probably 1947, was probably $3,500 for all 3 rides. It might have been less than that. So a lot's changed since then.
His wife was a teacher. The family would join him from early summer until fall.
Well, I've been in the business, my whole life. Our carnival started in 1947. I was born in '77, so I don't know anything different.
Now running it with her parents, for Erin, it has always been a way of life.
I mean, growing up, it was always exciting to get to the Mississippi Valley Fair. I mean, the entertainment was top-notch. It still is, of course. And so that was always exciting to get there. And, you know, ooh, who's going to be there? What concert can we go to? And we set up more rides, of course, when we were in Davenport, because it's a bigger fair. And, you know, so when we weren't working, my sister and I growing up, we got to sneak away and go to the grandstand for a little bit, so.
And for you, I mean, life, what is life like for you? How do you explain to people how your life is different than theirs?
Well, my mother always explained our business to me, and I agree. It's a lot like farming, as far as you work with your family, you work hard. Ours is different in the fact that we travel. But, you know, we're dependent on the weather. Our business is just like farming is. You know, equipment is very expensive. And, you know, while everyone else was home in the summers growing up, Emily and I, my sister, we were out here working, you know. The only thing we missed at home was maybe playing t-ball and going to the pool every summer. But otherwise, we were home, you know, for everything else. we just traveled.
Of course, life on the road has its ups and downs. But how does unlimited corn dogs sound?
I try not to, as often, obviously, but, days that you're so busy that you miss a meal, then, yep, that's what you're having is a corn dog for supper.
Fun and games for you, but lots of work for them.
It's a 24/7 job. I mean, there's always something to think about, work. I mean, it's hard work, and it's my parents' hard work that made this become so successful, our business.
Like any family, there are challenges along the way, even more so when your home moves from city to city for most of the year.
My mom taught school for 25 years, and she had just retired in 2001, and then she fell ill 2 years later. Well, the plan was for her to be out on the road with my dad all the time, not going back and forth, obviously, and she got sick, and pneumonia caused a host of problems, and she had several strokes and lost her vision because of that. And she's been through it all, and she survived, and she's my mother. It's her personality. She's her still, and so she's out here all the time also. We're like a team. She tells me what to do. She's still the brains. I'm the one that physically does it.
But they are determined to continue this family tradition so that your family traditions keep going too. Because they know summer just wouldn't be the same without this at one of your favorite venues. And one of theirs, the Mississippi Valley Fair, recently celebrating more than 100 years and still going.
Done so much work to the fairgrounds, and it just looks so much nicer. And what they're doing now, they've built these new buildings, and they're redoing the grandstand. I mean, they're looking for the next 50 to 100 years. I've always marveled at the people that built that fairgrounds in the 1920s, what big thinkers they were to be thinking ahead to build that size grandstand, and the buildings that they built, and the fair board and the manager, they're doing the same thing now. They're looking ahead for 50 to 100 years when they put up them two big buildings and redoing the grandstand. They're looking at the future.
Creating new memories for you and them.
Yeah, the best part, well, one of the very best part is all the people that we meet in each community. I mean, some fairs like Clear Lake, Iowa, for example, we've been going there 45 years, I believe. Some of my best friends are in Iowa and not necessarily at home. We're fortunate that we get to go around and meet so many different people. So when you see them once a year, it's like a reunion.
Make sure to check out our extended interviews with them on our podcast, The Heart of the Story with Gary Mativier.